Okay, hello everyone. Today is our fifth lesson in IGCSE Mathematics. We are talking about numbers together, okay? So let's move into our content today, and you can find here, the first part is about percentage basics, okay? So you can find in today's lesson, we're just learning about percentage, right? Okay, so let's move to the first part about the definition and conversion, okay? So for percentage, we can sometimes written down a percentage symbol after a number. Like here, we have maybe for 25%, okay? So it can be converted into the fractional number act over 100, okay? So for each time, if you want to convert them, just to transfer it into fraction numbers, it can become more easier, okay? So maybe here are some examples like here. The first question is to change the fraction numbers into the percentage. Like here we have 3 over 5 or 3 divided by 5, we can times 100. So after multiplying 100, you can find here the value switches into 60, right? And then you have to add a percentage after this because this means we have already times 100, but we have to divide it 100 to make sure that the value doesn't change. So 1 over 100 means a percentage. So here it just switches into 60%, okay? And here we just maybe it has another question like switching decimals to the percentage. So all of these problems just multiply by 100, okay? The same way, like 0.07, you can times 100 and it turns into 70. Oh, sorry, 7. And you can add the percentage symbol after 7 that becomes 7%, okay? And another question like here is just to switch percentage to decimals, okay? So here you can just try to divide by 100, okay? So maybe here you can find there's 125%, and after dividing by 100, you can find the answer becomes 1.25, okay? So just using this value, 125 over 100, okay? Like this way. So every time if you want to just change this into the decimal or fraction numbers to divide it by 100, and you want to change the decimals or fraction numbers into the percentage just to time 100 and added a percentage after this, okay? So it's not very difficult, right? Okay, so here are some mental mathematics strategies. Okay, so here you can find the 50%. We know that it means a half, right? But we can also that it means a number divided by 2. Okay, and 25% we can consider as divided by 4, or half of the 50%. Okay, and 10% means divided by 10, and 1% means divided by 100. Okay, that is for this meaning. Okay, and here's another example. Like here, you can just find the percentage of a value. Like here, you want to find 35% of 80, and you can times 35% with 80, okay? So maybe the first time it's very hard for you to calculate, but you can just using calculator to help you. So if you want to understand for this, you can just try to understand maybe for you to consider about 10% is easier because 80's 10% means 1/10 of 80, right? We're just choosing 1/10 of 80 because this means 10 over 100 means 1/10, right? So 1/10 of 80 equals to 8, right? So we can set 10% of 80 is 8. So if we have 30% of the 8 is 8 times 3, and the answer is 24, okay? So after that, we also have 5% left. So we knew that 5% equals to the half of 10%, right? So here for 1%, sorry, for 10% is 8, and so half of the 10% is 4. Okay. So here you can just write down together, and it's 24 plus 4, and the final answer is 28. Okay. So that's how we can consider for all these problems. Every time you remember that you're just timing or multiplying the percentage to the values. Okay, if you're not very sure about this, you can first to make the 25% or like other percentage into smaller pieces, like make them 3 times 10% plus a 5%, okay? Which makes the question easier. Okay? So here are some expressions about one quality as a percentage. Like here, if you want to find the percentage of A of B, you can just also set A over B times 100%. So here's an example, like here, like express the 40 cents as a percentage of $2. Okay, so we knew that for a dollar it equals to 100 cents, right? So here you can just switch the unit. We can just switch $2 into the 200 cents. Okay, and the answer here is like 40 cents over 200 cents. So here the fraction here is 40 over 200. And then you can multiply by 100. So here is 40 over 200 times 100, and the final answer is 20%. Okay. That is how we can expressing the quality as a percentage. I think this is very important, okay? So that is for this, okay? Another percentage of the quality, like here, you can just using like off, it means multiplying, okay? So here you can find example like here, calculate 17% of the 3,500. You can just maybe using the fraction numbers to times 3,500 directly, okay? So the answer here is 17 times 35, and it equals to 595. And also you can just switching the 17% into the decimals. Okay, so here is 0.17 times 3,500, and the answer is 595. Okay, so this is ways to solving these problems. I guess it's not very difficult, right? If you're just knowing how to transfer them. Okay, and here's some problems that maybe said, oh, the percentage is over than 100%. So we knew that percentage of 100% like we are very, very sure about for this event will be happening, right? So if we just describing 100% of a number, that means the number itself is no more than a number or smaller than a number, okay? That's very important. And also for 200% like this, and 100%, 150% of 60, you can just times 150% times 60. And here the answer is 90, okay? That's for these problems. So today we're just making a brief understanding for the percentage, and I hope you can just get a closer understanding and trying to do some exercise after this lesson, okay? So see you next time. Bye.